Welcome to the Power Lunch Podcast, your midday dose of boldness, brilliance, and a little bit of badassery. I'm Amy Sousa, here with my powerhouse co-hosts, Tracie Munce and Lisa Carmichael, and we're coming in hot to shake things up. Each week, we dish out bite-sized, high-impact conversations on business, health, purpose, wealth, and the wild, beautiful chaos in between. Whether you're building your dream, rebooting your story, or just catching your breath, this is your space to get grounded, inspired, and reignited. This isn't just another podcast, it's your power move. Let's go.
We're back.
So good to see you guys.
It is. And I'm really excited for the conversation that we talked about earlier. The difference between then versus now. And Amy was talking about the changes that she had gone through these past few years. Will you share with our listeners?
Absolutely, Lisa. One of the biggest mindset shifts I've had with my business is learning how to delegate and realizing that just because I can do something doesn't mean I should do something. Something that I was trapped in constantly was social media. And we all need social media in our business. And organic social media takes a long time. I realized that I could put together a 30-day spreadsheet and give it to the right person and let them run with it. And every once in a while I have to change things around, but letting them run with it and not having to correct it all the time.
And that's so important because when you empower somebody else, it allows them to tap into their creativity. And we don't have to stand over them with a whip or question what they're doing because they will naturally shine. Do you feel that way, Tracie?
You know, I have a couple of thoughts on this. So first off, I think mindset is absolutely important as a business owner because the psychology of a business owner is going to be the metric to success of any business. So if we're in a low mindset, if I'm in a low mindset, or if I'm in disempowering beliefs, I'm going to bring that to my staff. Whether I bring that to them vocally, it's always going to come across in a scarcity sense. I also think as a small business owner, for myself anyway, I had to learn every single part of my business before I started to delegate, and I'm going to come back to that word delegate here in a minute, but I had to learn every part of it so that way I could understand the challenges that they were going to feel. The second thing though is there came a point where, and we talk a lot about the glass ceiling, there came a point where I had to release control because I was hitting my ceiling, right? And the minute I released control and allowed my staff to live into their creativity, live into their purpose, live into what I was paying them to do, it opened up space for me to actually do what's my zone of genius. And my zone of genius is not social media. So we could have a whole podcast about social media because I have lots to say about that. But the last thing I want to say, just to piggyback on what Amy was saying, is I learned a few years ago about delegating versus leveraging.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And delegating is when we say, I need you to do this, go do it. Well, a lot of times when we delegate something, I get frustrated because it doesn't happen in the time I want it to happen. It doesn't happen with the results that I was looking for. And it doesn't happen the way, because, you know, I know how to do things, but I know how to do things my way. Mm-hmm. So it comes in like, they don't do it the way that I want them to do it. So they're missing steps or they're adding steps or whatever. So when we leverage, we give clear, concise results we're looking for. We give a timeline that we're looking for, and this has a lot to do with social media, right? This is the result I'm looking for. This is the timeline I need it in. And then we check in with them.
Absolutely.
Right? First off, do you have any questions? Can you do this? Are you willing to do this? Do you have the skill sets to do this? Mm-hmm. And then we check in periodically. How are we doing on this? Where are we at on this delegations in my life when I was delegating with a preconceived belief that they knew what I was talking about with the limited information that I gave them. So that's a lot, but I think mindset for me, the biggest change was when I recognized that my mindset, the psychology of me as an owner, had to shift, and then my staff followed. Absolutely. Whether it was a vocal thing or just a
Yes, I agree, Tracie. Delegation is not just about giving the work away, it's about taking your power back so that you can show up in places that you need to be on to get your mission accomplished.
That's right. That's right. As a business owner, we should be owners, not operators.
Absolutely.
And that's also a big shift, right? How do you become an owner when you're so used to being the operator of the day-to-days and having your fingers in everything? And, you know, and for me, becoming an owner meant that I wasn't here as often. And having your fingers in everything, and, you know, and for me, becoming an owner meant that I wasn't here as often. So when, you know, I was working on the business, and here's the reality, working on the business was sometimes it looked like it was working on me.
Yeah.
Right? So my crew of people didn't really understand, wait a minute, you're working on you. How is that working on the business? When the reality is everything I was doing was to make me a better leader and a better owner and a better business person, whether it be financially or whatever. So
yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Tracie, about protecting your time?
Well, first off, I'm in control of my calendar. So anybody that says they don't have time, to me, that's because you're choosing not to have time, because I schedule my own stuff.
Absolutely.
Or I have somebody that I trust to scheduling stuff, right? So I have a Google Calendar, my assistant. Just kidding. But my daughter has access to it. So and it's color coded. I color code it. So make sure that she understands I'm out of town, or I have this, or what, you know, and she'll plug in time. That's how she knows this is when I have access to you.
Well, it's communication too, because if you aren't an effective communicator, you can't run a business.
No.
You have to be able to communicate to the people that are working side by side with you. And that's the breakdown of a business. 9 times out of 10, that the communication skills are lacking. So highly,
that's in every
important.
relationship, isn't it? I mean, we could talk about that. Like, you know, communication is absolutely.
It is.
Obviously, I'm having challenges with mine.
So what's, you know, when you think back, Tracie, what's something that you used to hustle for that you don't now?
It's a really good question. Wow, there's so many things that are flooding my brain right now. You know, I think what I hustled for was, this is going to sound so ego, but notoriety. Right? Like I wanted people to look at me as a success.
The perfect vision.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so successful. And the reality is my metric of success was not your metric of success. So I was always feeling like I was falling short, because even if people were like, oh my gosh, you're doing such a great job, I would be judging myself based on all of my flaws versus really looking at the successes I was having in my life. So I think that I stopped chasing success and started just loving the journey. Right? You all know about my F factor, the values that I and the standards that my staff lead, or I lead my staff on when it comes to culture. And one of them is E for excellence, out of the F, EAPH, and E for excellence. But for so long, I was striving like to reach excellence, when really excellence is boring. Because once you get there, you've gone through this huge journey of getting there. And if we miss the journey, if we're always grinding and hustling within that journey, once we get to excellence, then it's like, meh, what's next? And we move on. And we don't even recognize these levels of success that we are reaching, because we're always shooting for more.
Well, it's that hustle mindset that we always have to be busy. We always have to be working. Instead of,
or we're not doing enough.
Right.
I must be lazy. I'm procrastinating.
Yeah, I find myself drowning in work all the time, and then I started scheduling my workouts in the middle of my day in between meetings just to get their energy back because I wasn't taking care of me.
Yeah.
Realizing, okay, slow down. You got to take care of you before you can take care of everybody else.
That's right.
So true.
And then the other thing is we find ourselves in that, I'm so busy. And we're not doing things that actually move the needle towards the thing we're working for.
Right.
But if we say we're busy, then we, how many times have you heard this? Oh, I'm so busy. Doing what? Doing what? Because if we're not seeing those if we're not hitting our mile markers, if we're not hitting those goals we're looking for, really busyness is just a badge we get to wear so everybody can think, that you have this excuse on why you're overtired.
Well, and then you get sick because you've been working so hard, you've been grinding, and you wonder why you don't get things done.
That's right.
So you wonder why you don't get things done.
That's right.
So I love that you hired a VA
Yeah.
and took something off of your plate. And what happened after you hired the VA?
I
with your
had the
business?
time to schedule things in the community that I wanted to attend. I have time for my happy hours. I have time for my ladies' luncheons. I have time to schedule out every coffee break for the Chamber of Commerce or the Rotary meetings, and I put everything else around it.
I love, Amy, that you know what you are good at and what you aren't good at. And there are some things that someone else would be better at doing that.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. I am not good at data entry in my CRM. I hired somebody 20 hours a week just to get the data entry and the CRM and the Facebook, the organic going.
And it's funny because women will avoid it
Yes.
and then it won't get done.
Yep.
Avoid it
Yes.
and then it won't get done.
Yep.
So I'm glad that you did that. I'm glad that you made time.
Thanks, Lisa.
We're such a good
Well,
team.
Lisa, you're fractional CFO, is that right?
CMO marketing.
Oh, so you do marketing. So tell
I
me
do marketing.
What's a fractional versus a non-fractional CMO?
Fractional is part-time, so I'm not
Oh.
working for you. You're not paying for me to work 40 hours a week.
You're a contractor.
I'm a contractor, I'm a freelancer, and I'm not on your payroll per se because you don't have
So you
to
get
watch.
a 1099.
Yes. And I am looking at your business at a higher level, at a strategic level. So I will hire out your VA. I will find someone that can run your CRM business for you.
So basically, I'm sorry, can I ask some questions
Uh-huh,
here?
yeah.
My marketing plan, and then you would find somebody to do the content. You don't do the content, you just look at my plan, you just look at it and give me a plan.
I give you a plan based on your needs. So I listen to what it is that you're doing in your business and how I can help you solve bigger problems instead of focusing on the smaller problems.
I love that because I think that as a business owner, I see so often that if you're in a financial, if you're in a scarcity mindset, you're looking for pennies versus thousands, right? Like you're like picking up all these little let's get the low hanging fruit, and it's like that doesn't make an impact. It's certainly over time, and I'm not saying that don't know your numbers, but you need to know the overarching, right? And you do that in a marketing sense. So as a marketing, is that just social media or?
There's so much to marketing people don't realize. Initially, people think of marketing as sales. Oh, I hate sales. I could never do that. I can't sell to anybody. For me, it's so much easier to promote somebody else's business versus you promoting yourself. People don't, especially women, don't like to talk about themselves. They don't like to promote their businesses.
I can let you know that the British have a saying that says self-promotion is no recommendation. And I heard that for the first 10 years of our business. Self-promotion is no recommendation. And that is not, I don't agree with that. 100% don't agree with that. But I was living with that and not saying that, I'm certainly not blasting the person that was saying that to me, but it was that belief that when we self-promote that we're tooting our own horn, so to speak. But in business, we must. If you, I think about it all the time when we're football. Anyway, so what am I promoting? I'm promoting that I like soccer, that I like Barcelona, that, you know, I have good taste in clothing, right? But, or I'll use the example of Adidas. How many times do you see people wearing Adidas? You're promoting Adidas. So if you're not promoting your business and you have clothing that you're trying to sell, if you're not wearing it out in public, you're doing a disservice to your business. Would you agree with that?
I happen to see a crown on that t-shirt too. That's Tracie.
Right. Well, yeah. it does have a little bit of, you know, I am a bit of a queen. So do you see what I'm saying? I mean, like, I think that as business owners, we so often hide, right?
Is it just business owners or is it women?
It's women.
It's absolutely.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that is? Who told us we had to be? I do know. Never mind. I do know. Never mind.
You know, I had a revelation. So this weekend I ordered a paddleboard.
Ooh.
I know. I'm so excited. And we were talking about pumping up the paddleboard and getting an electric paddleboard or an electric pump. And I had a flashback thinking about only boys could use that, or only boys could charge a battery, or, you know, that's a man's job. And no, I can do anything I put my mind to. So I can operate a paddleboard, I can operate an electronic air pump. But I think somewhere along the line, I got a message saying, you're a girl, you can't do that. It was definitely a line in the sand between what men can do and what women can do. And I feel like we have evolved as well. Were women emasculated? Have we been? And is that a thing?
Such a good question. It just brings me right back to the glass ceiling, right?
It
like
does,
those limiting beliefs that we give ourselves because of something that we learned as a child, like unraveling those beliefs. And, you know, being a better business owner is about doing that. And I mean, not to sit here and always promote the power luncheons or the happy hours, but I think that's what we do differently. And the collective of people that we get to surround ourselves doesn't allow ourselves to continue to live in those limitations, right? And certainly, here's the reality. If there's a man around and he wants to pump up my paddleboard, I'm 100% gonna let it.
I'm going to work on my biceps, though.
I love that for you.
On my biceps, though.
I love that for you.
So I'm going to take somebody with me that's gonna pump it up.
I don't need
but
to
I
pump
can
it
do
up.
it. I just don't want to do it.
Exactly. The knowledge of knowing I can. There was a reel, and it was this woman that was she wanted her doors taken off her Jeep, and her husband set up a video, and when her husband is there, honey, and he comes and takes off. When her husband isn't there, she's like lugging off the Jeep and putting him over her shoulder.
Absolutely.
The reality is we can.
We can.
But I think as females also, we need to allow our men to take care of us as well, right? It's that I can do it, but I also can receive. So.
And is that a shift in your thinking with your business?
100%.
Absolutely.
100%. I don't, and that's been a really big one in mine is I thought I had to do it alone, but I had a partner. And I wasn't letting my partner do his role. So, you know, this conversation is so amazing. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we're going to continue this conversation for our next podcast. So we're going to continue this, but I'm going to ask one question real quick. The question is, what's one power move you've made that's changed everything for you? Start with Lisa.
My power move was actually personal mindset. It was my own getting to know myself. It might have been partly of becoming a published author. A lot of it had to do with cold water dipping, going into the ice water, 10 degrees below zero, 20 degree below wind chill in Minnesota, and just standing in ice cold frigid water for 10 minutes. that may not be the answer. It really allowed me to find a better focus, because if I could do that, I could do anything.
I love it.
Absolutely. I think that my real shift happened when I stopped asking for permission and I just showed up real and authentic.
I love that. I think my power move was 2020 when I got into personal development, like really got into it. It gave me time and space to start to understand who Tracie really was and what she needed. So that was mine, 2020, which let's talk about 2020 here in our next conversation. I think that this last 5 years has taught us a lot. So, all right, that's it for us today.
Yeah.
We will see you on the next cast.
Let's go.
Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. If something we shared sparked a new idea, gave you a fresh perspective, or simply made you feel seen, we'd love for you to pass it on. Share this episode with a friend, a colleague, or a fellow powerhouse woman who's walking her own journey. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep rising, and remember, there's no ceiling you can't break through.